Hey, hey everyone, this is Miss G. I wanted to make a short video about how to insert the graphs for your project. So the first thing you want to do is make sure you know exactly what you want. There are 3 graphs that are required for your lab. So they involve this column, which is the date, this column, which is, you can see I have it marked by stars, the control cup mass, compared to this column, which is the larvae cup mass. So I'm going to show you how to make this graph, and you're going to apply the same principles for the other 2. So for this graph, your first step is you want to click on the insert chart button. So I'm going to click that button just like that. And then we're going to get this screen that pops up. In order to tell the machine, as we like to call it, what to do, we're going to click this grid right here, and that's going to help us to select our data range. So go ahead and click that, and I'm going to actually have to tell it what data I want my my graph to take into account. So the first one is I want to, of course, involve the date, which is why I'm highlighting that. That is going to be our x-axis or our horizontal axis. And then I also need the other 2, which I've distinguished by these 2 sets of stars. So let's add another range. And again, make sure you highlight that header row, because that's what's going to tell the computer what to label your lines, and that's going to show up in the key automatically. And then last but not least, I'm going to add the last range. Let's move this a little bit over, which is the larvae cup without the frass. And I'm going to highlight that, and then I'm going to just hit OK. Once I hit OK, you can see I get this screen popping up. We are going to aggregate our column A, which basically means that we're going to take our column A and make that into our horizontal axis. That's why this is horizontally. I'm also going to use my row 3 as headers, which means that, as you can see on the Google Doc here, on the Google Sheet, the row 3 is where we have our headers, and that's what's going to give us our labels when we make our final graphs. After that, make sure you click on line graph, because we want to make a line graph. And then you can see a little preview of what's happening here. We're going to have to change the title around the left vertical axis and the horizontal axis. And you can do that over here in the customization section. So chart title, you want to put your title, and go ahead and look in your lab to get a specific title of what that should be. I'm not going to give you that right now because that is something that you can read. And then if you scroll down to the axis, so our horizontal axis is going this way, right? So in order to change that title, I'm going to say it is, that's our dates in this case, but you will have a specific way of naming it. And then I'm also going to change the left vertical, which is this one up here. And remember, that's going to be in grams, I believe. And Miss Meldrew is going to have you name that in a very specific way. So just make sure you do that properly. After you're done, there's really nothing else I would, go and change at this point. I would just click insert. And what happens is it literally inserts it onto the page that you are going to be on. So at that point, then you're going to, so as you can actually see, we have our graph in our sheet right here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually click on it, and I'm going to minimize it a bit so that it can be in a place where the viewer of the data can actually see it better. So let me kind of drag it down. I'm going to click on it, and then I'm going to just drag it down, and I will open it up like this. Now, if you notice anything that needs to be changed, let's say you forgot to title it properly, or perhaps these weren't showing up, what you want to do is click on it, click the little down arrow, okay, and you're going to do advanced edit. And this will come up, and again, you want to hit recommendations and this little data range to make sure that, see how I have 3s here? You want to make sure that those are highlighted or those are written, because if you don't do that, if we look at our 3rd row here, that is not going to show up as your label. So that is really important. If it's not like that, then you're going to have to make sure you change it, which you can easily do just by clicking on the line and changing it. Mine is correct, so I don't need to go back and change it, but that's a little troubleshooting idea. Again, your chart types, you want to make sure that these two are checked off, that it's a line graph, and customization needs to be set correctly. And when you like what you have right here, the last step is to just click update and you should be ready to go. All right, so you're going to do the same exact thing for the other two graphs. The other two graphs, one will be this controlled daily mass loss to larva daily mass loss. And again, you're also going to need your date column. And then the last graph will be a single sort of a graph, which will involve the date as your x-axis. And then you're going to use this column, which is why the 3 ampersands are alone. So good luck in your process. And if you have any other questions, feel free to ask Greenwald at cheltenham.org. All right, guys, talk to you later.